Coming to get you, Barbara.
The Fear Central Radio Show. Warning, our content may include spoilers and is intended for mature audiences.
Hey, fellow horror fans, welcome to the Fear Central Radio Show. I am your host, Mike, and joining me this week is...
Paul.
Heather.
Katie.
Chris.
All right, so I know we've been gone for a little while, but you know, life happens.
Whether you want it to or not.
Exactly.
Lots of life.
So, you know, May, you know, you got the end of school coming up, and we all got kids, or most of us have kids, and there's proms.
Broken kids.
Yeah, broken kids, and...
Or broken me, but you know.
Broken you.
Broken Katie's. And
Broken
it's
Katie's.
just terrible.
I told you to stop swinging from the chandelier.
I know, it's that stinking chandelier. It's just so tempting.
I know, she's such a Sia fan.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
A Sia fan.
See, a fan.
I just
See,
love
fan.
that wig.
She's gonna swing from the chandeliers.
Chandelier.
Okay, got it. Yes.
Didn't realize there was
But we are back and ready to bring you lots of good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So our topic this week is pretty much other things that you can do to get horror. For instance, VR, which we've been playing around with.
We have been.
Yes.
And, it's quite interesting.
My visor's been getting all sweaty all night.
Yes. We've sweated him.
Cheap prostitute.
We didn't have to pay for it.
I know, right?
So it's more of a slut.
Happy birthday to Paul.
Oculus slut.
Right?
Yeah, I was the Fredo the entire time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll show you a good time, huh? How's everybody doing here?
But we've done some interesting things. Some movies came out with some trailers that were done in VR.
Yeah,
like we
right.
watched one
Yeah.
for the new It.
Then yes, there are a couple of different experiences for
Alien
it.
Covenant.
Yeah, Alien Covenant. Heather liked that the most, so we'll let her describe that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are... the first thing, you're in stars, and they're moving everywhere. And then all of a sudden, you can see, veins and a heartbeat, and you're, in it, and you're in this, uterus. And you're in utero, and all of a sudden, you burst out, and you attack the doctor. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so much fun, because you don't just attack the doctor. You attack her face.
Yeah.
You're going to eat her face off. It's amazing.
So
I've seen you do that to some PTA moms.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
so
Tis the reason I'm not allowed to
It
be
was
in
actually a
PTA.
teaser trailer for Alien Covenant.
It was.
But it's so much better, in my opinion, after you've seen the movie, because it is a scene from the
Makes
movie
more sense after you've
Yeah.
seen it.
as the chest burster.
Yeah.
Yes, you were the
And I can see where seeing that before the movie makes you go, all right, what was that? I got to see this.
My only issue with it was that for it to be a chest burster, it burst out his back.
Well, it does.
Does it in the movie?
Yes,
I
in the
can't
first
remember.
movie. Or on the first one, the guy that was smoking and got things in his ear, it
Oh,
came out of his back, right?
yeah.
I love it's that goofy scene where she slips on the blood too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Got it.
There were a couple of pratfalls in that movie.
Yeah, there were.
It takes place just before the other people show up, and they close her off in the medical room, and she's like, let me out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
More abstract is the It trailer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of like here's a whole bunch of different environments from the movie, and you get Pennywise running around you for a little bit.
Yeah.
For like
And-
4
and
minutes.
Georgie.
It's very vertigo-inducing.
Oh, yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah. Heather's
Several
not
of
a
them.
height person.
I'm not. And there's been
That's why
several.
she's short.
Yeah, that's right. God knew what he was doing. He made me short for a reason.
Especially that last part.
About being short. Oh, yeah.
Just going straight down.
Kind of floating with all the kids.
Yeah, you're... And then... Oof.
Yeah.
It'll get you.
But there was a couple others. There was the one that had the 3 books I had to choose from.
Yeah, so that is a big experience. So we were messing around with the Oculus Go. So it's got the Oculus Marketplace on it, and one of the best apps, if you happen to pick one of those up, is Face Your Fears.
Yeah.
Face Your Fears comes with 3 experiences preloaded. One is a Stranger Things experience. One is called Dead of Night, which is what you're describing. And another one is called Killer View, which is what Heather did.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Was that the alien one?
No.
Yeah, there was aliens.
Yeah.
I mean...
And you were all like on an
that
antenna.
was the height one.
Yeah.
And I am terrified of heights. I mean, my dad in our business made me get up on a roof with him one day, and I had a panic attack. I haven't been on a roof since.
Yeah, Katie's done that one too.
Yep.
It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite quotes from VR experience. So, spoilers for the experience. At the end of it, what happens is you're in a very Art Deco apartment. We differ on how many stories up we think it is.
It was like 700.
I'm pretty sure it was like 40, but you know.
It was like 700.
Anyways,
Depends on how afraid you are.
The wall gets blown out by a couple of jet fighter pilots.
Nice.
And then a huge War of the World style battle mech thing comes after, grabs you, and you get flung onto an antenna, which like sort of snaps and like goes
leaves you hanging.
Yeah,
All right.
you're
I
left
didn't get to
hanging.
do that one.
And then you are completely let go.
Ooh.
You're
just falling.
you're completely let go
Until-
but then the mothership picks you up.
And then you get beamed up.
Oh.
And
I felt like Scotty.
Stinking. The fighter jets that are fighting the stinking mech go after the mothership and then make the beam that's hauling you up drop you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
so
Okay, wait a minute. How come I didn't experience this one?
so Katie's quote from that experience was I just hear the jets fly by and I hear and Katie goes, "Oh, you jerks!"
Only that's not the word I said. That's definitely not the word I said.
Katie cursed?
I did.
There will also later
Were you like, oh, you fuck
be,
tarts?
Yes.
be
It's
some
ers and
videos
tarts.
of us wearing said
Yeah.
Oh my
VR
God,
helmets. And
I wish
So
there was a
you'll-
way we could kind of do like
split screen.
a split screen with a camera and us showing kind of what it is with our reactions.
There are ways. We'd have to get into some technical
We could do
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
We could find that.
But it's quite humorous because I watched my video anyways, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
Yeah. She's like all looking around the room and all. She's like, you fucking.
I see you.
There were,
I see you.
yeah, she dropped some F-bombs.
Yeah.
It's a couple, yeah.
It was kind of funny because I kept backing up and she kept going backwards, and I was like, "Oh wait,
Yeah, she was crawling around the room.
I
Yeah.
was. The
She
it
was
one
kind
I
of
was.
like the ghost.
Was that sisters?
that
you were
was
doing?
sisters, yeah.
All right. Sidetracked on that. Sisters is been around for a long time. That one, you're in a living room with a couple of dolls on
the mantle.
On the mantle,
Yeah.
and then the lights go out, and then one of the dolls is gone. And
One of the dolls is gone and one's
Yeah.
on the floor.
And one's on the floor.
And then they start moving around.
And then there's some other things.
There's
and
some other things.
words that
Yeah.
come out of your mouth when you see said things that you're not
And then,
gonna
there's things in the room that you're looking at and you're like, that's going to move. That's going to move.
And then it
Didn't
doesn't.
move. Didn't move.
But
I was
then
like,
all of a
"Really?"
sudden there's something like else, and you're like, damn it.
I
I
always
don't believe that's what you said.
No. There was some other words. You'll be able to see.
I always
Yeah.
like people's reaction whenever they look down and see the doll sitting beside them on the couch for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, I just looked and I was like, I see you. It
She
was
did-
like,
she
I
didn't
knew
get to
it was
do
there.
The one I did, the ghost.
No, I didn't.
Which
get
is
to do
probably
that
one of the more tense ones. So that was also from Face Your
You say
Fears. That one is you're in a child's bedroom and you
Yeah.
have 3 books. One is called Fun Time with Mr. Jingle. One is called The Ghost, and one is called it's something about levitation or
yeah,
invisibility or something like that. I have yet to do that one actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
None of those sound like they have happy endings.
So what was
One
the
too
ghost?
many.
So Mike chose the ghost.
Yeah.
What happened whenever you chose the ghost?
Basically, lights start flickering, lights start going out, and then you start randomly seeing like this ghostly feral kid running around with glowing red eyes. in just various places.
Yeah, that's not creepy at all.
Yeah.
It's like walking around my house at night.
No.
I got irritated by how many doors were left open in that bedroom.
There was a lot.
Yeah, closet and bathroom.
And the air vent.
The air vent's just randomly open.
Yeah, it's just like only one screw holding that open. Okay.
It's like, this is an
unsafe
environment.
That would make my mom's sense tingle. Because I can't stand it.
So Paul laughed at me for a second because there was one scene where I turned my head and there's like a door that leads into the bathroom, and the feral kid shows up in there. He's all bouncing around and beating the wall and stuff.
He goes ape shit in there.
And I'm like, I feel that way in the shower sometimes too.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering.
Cause, like, kid goes ape shit in the bathroom in that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like, I feel that way too.
Yeah. Feel that way every morning
other types
getting out of
fear. Some people have a fear of roller coasters. Mm-hmm. And thus Chris does not, and did a couple of roller coaster ones.
I love the roller coaster ones.
Yes.
So what was the second
so much
one?
Fun. Which one?
The second one, where you were hanging upside down or something?
It was actually was 360 video from the VR video app.
Right.
Six Flags has a channel there that they have mounted like a camera equipment on the ride with a bunch of people and then send it through.
Oh. Which Six Flags? Do you know which one it was?
One in
It's a
California.
lot. Well, it's every one of them, but
yeah.
that one was from California.
Oh,
It was,
okay.
the Tatsu is the name of that ride.
So what was that experience like?
It was like, at first it was a little nerve wracking because you're trying to get your bearings, and then once you have your bearings, then you really got into it because the whole VR is swinging, and so the motion of the spin, you kind of follow it in the direction of it. So your movements of your body mimic the roller coaster, and it's rather fun. I mean, unfortunately, it didn't go fast enough for me.
So I remember when I was younger that the Six Flags in Arlington, Texas, had what they called the Chevy Show. And it was a room you went into with a giant curved screen. And then they would do the roller coasters and whatever on it. Would you say it felt kind of like that? It was a little more intense because you could actually see all the way around.
It was a little bit more intense. My favorite part was looking down and seeing the tops of the trees, because I'm a huge adrenaline junkie, and that to me is the best part, is when your feet are flapping and you're like, oh look, little trees.
And I don't know if it's the way they mounted the camera, but it seemed like everybody is sort of, whenever you get in that ride, everybody's sort of at an angle.
Yeah.
Like, it's sort of like holding you to make you look at the ground in that particular ride, which was kind of unique for that type of experience.
The other one that had the little wooden roller coaster.
Yeah, the other one was a CG type experience.
It was kind of similar to like Underground Mine Train. At Six Flags. Which the only thing is that one has a little bit more light, so it didn't unnerve me. I guess Underground Mine Train, the only thing that happened with that one is that it's completely in the dark, so you're not knowing where the next turn is going to be, is a little unexpected. So,
right.
But it didn't make me nauseous or anything. It was just like, oh, okay, this is a cool little kids ride.
Does that one jump the track?
Yes, it does, twice.
Yeah, like the track just ends and then it plummets you to another part of the track.
Yeah, and then like the last part of it, like you're going through this mine, and then you're surrounded by crystals, and then you go, and at the end it's like Lord of the Rings. You're just like in this forest, and you're like, wait a minute.
So, all right. So, question for everybody in attendance then: is there a particular roller coaster that anybody else has been on here that like? Is there a particular one that you remember making like freaked the shit out of you?
Oh, yeah.
All.
The one at Fiesta, Texas.
Okay.
That was built into the side of the wall.
Oh yeah.
That they had to lower like 3 times, and then they totally just took it off the cliff.
Right.
That one freaked me out because it was wooden, and it was like the weight of it sounded like it was literally falling apart underneath you. That one freaked me out. But, I mean, it was so much fun. Now, if we're talking going for speed, the Viper at Great America in California, well, I don't know what it's called now, but It used to be called Great America. The Viper out there, that one I loved. I could just ride that one forever.
Okay.
Actually, I take it back. There was one roller coaster that I didn't mind.
So it's the flip side of the question for you.
The one roller coaster I've ridden that did not freak me out was Space Mountain at Disney, whichever one's in Florida.
Okay.
How did that not freak you out?
Because it was in a very dark room.
It's a very cinematic experience, too.
And it had
you didn't go on that
holographic
one.
astrons
I know what it- I know
floating
what it is,
around.
though.
2 seconds.
Yeah, but there's holographic asteroids floating around.
Yeah.
So I was more intrigued with the holograms than I was with
So
the ride.
he got to not pay attention to the fact that he was in a
That's
ride.
why.
Heather?
There's two. One is at SeaWorld in San Antonio. It's called the Great White, and it's the inverted coaster where your legs are hanging,
Okay.
and you're just
Yeah.
and it's very fast, and it's maybe it was just because I was by myself in this ride and there was no one sitting beside me. It just you felt like you were going to fall out several times because it would pull you up and it would slow down and you're like pulling out of your seat and then it would just go again. It was like, oh my God. And then the other one was the Titan at the Six Flags in Arlington. I rode that. It was the same week it opened.
Me too.
It's terrifying to be on a brand new roller coaster when you're as afraid of heights as I am.
And
it
especially
is
the
slow
reputation with that one has.
Yes. And it is very, very, very tall.
No,
And very fast.
And
it was the
fast.
Titan,
That first weekend.
the
was
bigger
like-
one, or was the giant bigger than the
No,
Titan?
the Titan's bigger than the Giant.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
Like,
couldn't remember.
quite a bit bigger.
The Titan was one of the largest ones I'd ever had at Six Flags Over Texas.
But I just had a thought though. If you took the roller coaster ride from the beginning of House on Haunted Hill and put it in the VR, that would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
And you have to start with the elevator ride because
Yeah.
that
Definitely
starts the whole thing.
Yes.
That would have been awesome. Have
Okay,
you seen
so
that movie?
House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
seen both.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
ones you
Oh,
haven't
yeah, yeah.
seen still.
Yeah.
But she's seen the original a couple times, but she's seen the remake once.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
So I actually have 3 technical answers. 2 that currently scared me, and 1 that was the original one that scared me. So I didn't start actually riding roller coasters until I was 12, because the whole idea of going upside down scared the bejesus out of me. After my mom made me get on the Shockwave, and it was bad. I freaked out, so I didn't ride another one until I was 12. Now still, I can't do the Superman at Six Flags Over Texas, that just straight up drop thing. I can't do
Yeah.
it. I swear I'm gonna die every time. And then I rode the Titan the first like I think it's the weekend after it opened.
Yeah.
And that was when they were still doing it was like 88 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous, almost 90 miles an hour.
To go Back to the Future?
Yes. It was almost 90 miles an hour.
flux capacitor and
Yeah.
everything.
Everything.
One
Nice.
point
1 gigawatts of
But, after it threw that lady, then I think it was the next summer that it threw the lady in one of the turns.
Oh, yeah. I think I
Yeah,
heard about
and
that.
she died, and so they had to slow it down, and now it doesn't.
Yeah, you
it-
fly
Now it's
88
not-
miles
it
an
doesn't
hour
go
off
over
a roller coaster?
65.
It's not quite as thrilling now as it
Yeah.
used to be, but
Not as scary, but that
I
drop
think,
is still
I think
pretty
most would agree that
gut-wrenching.
it's good to not kill people, though.
it's
Yeah.
definitely good not to
Yeah.
kill people.
Yeah. So,
So my answers for this are kind of weird, and I don't know if these are like scary so much as just dickish designs to me.
Okay.
So the first roller coaster that freaked me out was probably the lamest roller coaster I've ever ridden on. State Fair of Texas.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
Lord.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
And you know it really wasn't the fact that it goes that fast or anything. It's the fact that it's cramped. Like
Okay.
I don't know if that thing stays up year round or if it's pieced together whenever they start the state fair. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Anyways, whenever you start rounding the turns, and I'm not incredibly tall, but I'm like 5'10" or whatever. Whenever they did a kind of loop-de-loop turn thing, and I felt just a big rush of air from passing by a pole that seemed really close to my head. I was like, did they really do their good due diligence with the design of this damn thing?
Right. I've written that one too, Paul.
It's just like
it is screaming, and he's over here analyzing it.
What I mean, it does. It feels like the cars are wider than they should be. Like, if you're going to have poles and stuff that close, you feel like the track should be wider, and so should the car, but...
It's not necessarily that it's like designed thrilling. It's that you're kind of sitting there going, was this designed well?
Yeah. Yeah. Now...
but the second one was when we went to Universal. Harry Potter.
You're kidding me.
So Harry Potter's a big cinematic experience, and I heartily recommend it to anybody. But the problem I got with it is...
Was that grammatical?
Yeah.
The problem I got with it?
The problem I got with it. So...
Not to go all Southern on you.
At our office, we had a couple of chairs that we had to construct. I swear I'm getting back to the point.
Okay. Were they from IKEA?
No, they were from Staples, but I'm not sure when they got put together that the person that knew what knew what they were doing and built the latch right. You know, so if you lean too far back, it just all of a sudden tries to plant you horizontal, and it's like everyone hates that chair. No one sits in that chair.
I have one of those in my office.
Like, because you go, no, son of a bitch, and then you like try to put the pin back in, and it still doesn't sit right. So that ride made me feel like you were sitting in that chair, but falling 3 stories. Because you're in a harness, and the harness is on a positioning system that allows it to go all 180 degrees. So
It doesn't go that bad. It's
so
just like you tilt backwards. And
your feet go over your head at one point. In the free
That sounds like sex on a Friday night. I'm just saying.
In free fall with it, I hate that feeling. I really hate that feeling. No one likes the feeling of a chair going underneath them.
What?
You hate the feeling of sex on Friday night?
I don't even want to know. Can we move on from that subject, please? I've got one that's technically not a roller coaster per se, but it terrified me.
The Ferris wheel?
No. No, I'm going to get to that in just a second. So if anybody in this room can attest that I'm terrified of heights. I don't do well with them.
Nope.
I can't. Maybe it's just the vertigo. I don't know what it is. I just can't.
You seem to enjoy dropping from 15 stories tall.
Yeah, well, I was sitting in a room when I was doing it, so my brain was dropping, not my body. So several years ago, we decided to go on vacation, and we went to Colorado. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a place in Colorado called the Royal Gorge, which is just what it's a gorge, and it is really far down. And you have a tram that you ride across. It's like a little car. You can see through the bottom. It freaks you out real bad. And then when you get around and you're going back to the other side of the gorge, there's a bridge, and it's a suspension bridge, and the wind blows and it moves, and you're walking across, and there are cars driving on it while you're walking across.
Oh, hell no.
It's terrifying. Well, so we go because, why the hell not, right?
Yeah.
Let's take the one who's extremely afraid of heights. So we're really high up.
No.
So we get there.
Makes you a more rounded person.
Yeah.
I felt like I was going to be a flat person after that. The whole way up there, we keep seeing these signs, and my niece is like, I want to do
Heather, you're
that.
going to die.
I'm going to do this. Every time I saw the sign, that's what I thought. Sorry, my droids aren't looking for me.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Exactly. So we keep seeing these signs for this thing all the way there. And the whole time, my niece is going, I want to do it. Will you do it with me? Well, my husband wouldn't do it with her. Her dad wouldn't do it with her. My dad wouldn't do it with her. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, she's going to get there and she's going to see what it is. And she's going to chicken out. She did not. We went on a sky coaster.
Oh, God.
There is a video of it. It's really pretty freaking hilarious. Okay, so this particular sky coaster is 1,200 feet in the air. You go up on this gorge, you go across on the little tram, and they hike you up in this thing that looks kind of like, I don't know, kind of like you're skydiving or bungee jumping. Mm-hmm. Well, then you have a ripcord you have to pull. After they pull you up 3 stories, you have to pull a ripcord to let yourself go. Mm-hmm. I couldn't do it. Ashlyn pulled the ripcord. She was about 10, maybe, and all of a sudden, you free fall drop. 12. You're like 1,200 feet in the air, and you free fall out over the gorge. And then you're up in the air, and you stop, and you go the other way. So it's like a giant pendulum in the sky.
It's the mega version of the one at Six Flags.
Oh, is that the sequel, The Gorge and a Pendulum?
Yeah, yes, that is. That's exactly right.
I haven't been to the one at Six Flags. I need to go.
I want to go so bad.
We'll go.
What?
Okay.
Get your back done first.
Okay.
Say what? What are we talking about?
I actually have a season pass right
Evidently, something at Six Flags is very similar.
When are we going to Six Flags?
now. As soon as I get the stinking back fixed.
Okay,
yeah.
so
That's what happened. Karmically, we got season passes
Really?
at Six
What?
Flags, and then your back goes out.
okay, so to
We got to talk about your
to
timing,
give you
Katie.
a little bit of just an idea is that's the platform you're on, and that's how high they lift you. Okay.
But you need to share that to the page so
I
everybody
will
can
share
see
this.
it.
I will share this.
Bitch.
Okay, wait. That's not even the best part, because they do have a picture of what it looks like looking down. Okay. I was hoping I could find a picture of it when you're going down. I think there's a video like on YouTube or something. Oh yes.
You can share the link.
I'll share this.
It gives a whole new meaning of going down.
It was definitely what is wrong with my phone?
I don't know.
It does. Oh, there we go. Okay. Just watch for just a minute. And
So-
there at the bottom of said gorge is a river.
Mm-hmm.
And a freight train that looks like it's about 2 inches tall. To give you, I like Paul's face.
Hell no.
Yeah. I
Nah.
had to sit for like 45 minutes after we got off of that thing because I couldn't move.
And how was Ashlyn?
Fine, loved it. It was, can we do it again? Hell no. Find somebody else.
I could just see Heather
And
doing
the
that.
worst part is just when you think you're done, you swing out again.
Well, of course, because you're on like what's equivalent of a big ass rubber band.
Yeah.
Only 1,200 feet in the air.
Only.
Gee, Chris would do that.
Yeah, I totally would.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
No.
Ooh, it's kind of like those
I'm
sky
kind of
hammocks.
amazed that the
I swim with
cameraman
sharks.
is
I can
able
do
to.
this
I'm kind of amazed that
without a cage.
the cameraman was able to keep it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's terrifying. I mean, like completely and utterly terrifying.
Aww.
Yeah, you got to share that link.
I don't know how. You'll have to do it for me.
I'll show you. Right. They offered us that last time we won passes.
Oh.
No. For like 6 hours. We came back home because my back was hurting.
I was gonna say either it was freezing or your back.
My back was cold. It felt nice.
No, it was real nice, actually. No lines for anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, when we started the whole VR thing this evening,
Yes.
you gave one to Shaylin with spiders. Was that also
I've
part
been
of
on
the
the one at
fear?
6
That was also part
It
of
is not
Face Your
nearly as
Fears.
terrifying.
I
No.
was doing good in that one until the body showed up.
Yeah, that's
And-
right. It was Chris that was doing that.
Yeah.
That
Shaylin
was-
started it first in Chris.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I was doing fine.
And then you gave Shaylin
Stranger
Stranger
Things.
Things.
So Stranger Things is... I don't want to spoil too much about that. I know there's a lot of Stranger Things fans. One thing I'll say that Stranger Things does is sort of equivalent to... if you've ever watched Prometheus in 3D.
Okay, yeah, I did.
So what was it? Wait. So what was it like, Shay Shay? I'm pretty sure it wasn't like that, but okay.
She landed on me.
And scared the dog in the in the middle.
Basically, I don't want to ruin it because, like, that. Yeah, just.
Anyways.
Yeah, there are spoilers, definitely. Basically, you're in the buyer's house, like in the normal world. If you've seen Stranger Things, you know what I'm talking about. And then you see the Demogorgon like coming through the wall over in the corner where the TV is, and it comes from both walls. And you look behind you, and you see a hand.
Don't give it
try to grab
away.
you.
Don't give it all away.
You
But
see lots of.
But
And
yeah,
you end up in the upside down, and they honestly don't show you how. It was just like it appeared. I was like, okay. And then
were you
Is
barred?
that video going to be shared too? Because that one was
That
hilarious.
video is already shared on
Yeah.
On the
But we
Fear
need to
Central?
put it on the Fear Central page.
Is it? Okay. Did you share
look
mine on Fear
thrilled.
Central? Okay, good.
there's a lot of jump scares. A lot.
So
And
here's
then-
the question I got for you. The one thing that made me a little uncomfortable with it, because it really didn't scare me all that much, but there was one thing that made me a little uncomfortable with. How did you do with the fact that the tendrils emerged from the wall and then wrapped themselves around you?
I didn't do good at that part. I saw.
I'm pretty sure she didn't do good with a lot of
It
parts.
shows you. Okay, this kind of like is a spoiler for season 2 if you haven't seen it. Like,
Don't spoil it.
it's,
No spoilers.
If you haven't
I'm
seen
pretty
season 2 by now,
you're like you need to catch up. Just
It ends at
catch
prom.
up.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh! Like we didn't
Nobel
expect
ball.
that. But okay, I don't want to give too many spoilers.
It was fun.
Um,
It was fun to watch.
It
Her.
was okay. It's if you're
Overall.
like me and you jump a lot, you're gonna get like really sweaty, and it's gonna get really hot because you're screaming and
Jumping and
Yeah.
wiggling.
And if you're
it's
in an
hilarious.
apartment building, you might get a noise complaint.
Yeah.
so there's in the beginning it gives you like a 30-second thing, and then it goes into
it's
the
a-
Stranger Things theme, and it just pops up and the Stranger Things song comes on, and you're like, oh, okay. And then you end up in the buyer's house. I was like, what?
Yeah,
So-
it's
so
it's
what-
it's almost like a credit sequence.
oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It shows you something that you don't know what's happening because it doesn't show it at all in the series.
You remember where Will got pulled into the upside down?
That's like the very first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like well that
Yeah,
that I was explaining it for Mike because Mike hadn't gone through it. It's like where Will got pulled in
Oh, okay,
the
okay,
shack
right,
out back.
right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the door opens up and you end up in there and there's someone in like a cocoon
And
type
it
experience.
doesn't like it's not anyone you're familiar with because no one in the series looks like that, so it's weird.
So how did you handle the spider one?
I didn't look for that one.
Oh, I thought you started with that one and then your mom did it.
No, Mom
She-
took it because
she
I was
would-
like, "Is it spiders?" And he wouldn't answer me, so I was
Oh,
like, "No,"
okay.
because
I-
I'm one of those people who has arachnophobia, so no, I'm not gonna. do
So
that.
you would think that they probably have more of the fear ones for multiple phobias than just those 3.
Well,
Yeah.
to be honest, so face your fears. The experiences that are in there. One is claustrophobia, although a couple of the experiences do the claustrophobia thing. But one of them is you're in an alien trash compactor, essentially. So like
Are
you're
you
in
screaming out for C-3PO? 3PO!
well, imagine it being like a tube.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
a tube, and you're witnessing
So-
people getting liquefied around you and
Oh,
stuff.
nice.
Yeah.
There's another one that's spiders. There's another one that's snakes, and the one I bought that pack for was birds.
Oh, okay.
That one's awesome. Like you're in a phone booth in a very like it looks like Alfred Hitchcock's Birds, like
Nice.
Seaside Town or whatever, and like a cop car comes like speeding by with a flock going out after it and stuff like that.
Awesome.
And they start pecking at the glass in the phone booth around you and stuff like that.
Nice.
So, for the benefit of the listeners, because I mean, a lot of people have experimented with Google Cardboard, like viewers that you put your phone into and everything like that. Essentially, what the device I have is an Oculus Go, which is take the guts of a Samsung phone from last generation, and then make it all about VR, so it runs a little bit smoother than a phone and that type of experience does.
Right.
I'm surprised.
Were you surprised at the level of immersion you could get from a VR experience like that?
I was with that one because we have one that's just the cardboard one.
Yeah.
And Charlie and I have played several times, and it's usually he always picks the ones with the dang zombies.
Oh yeah.
And so we get chased around the living room a lot with zombies.
There's a couple of really good shooters that use the controller that come
there
with
is.
it.
There is, and there was one where we were trapped in a mental hospital or something. I don't really remember.
Okay.
But it's this one is a little more immersive than the one that I have, which is, I mean, it's fine for, every now and then he pulls it out, wants to play on it, but I mean, for the most part, it's just something that he saw, he decided he needed it and bought it with his allowance, and his mama played with it more than he did. So,
if they could figure out a way to make it kind of MMO. And then do it as an escape the room type of thing where you can log into a server and several people join you in it. You can see them, they can see you, and then make it an escape the room.
There's I'd be very surprised if there's not one of those. So one of the most popular virtual reality programs is called VR Chat, which is exactly what it sounds like.
Right.
People build their own avatars and they just chat with people. But there's a big games room involved with that, where people play like the Night of the Werewolf game and all that type of stuff like that. But it's kind of open-ended, so people are able to do a whole bunch of different types of games experiences and stuff like that.
But that would be really cool if they came up with one where you could just certain servers allow a max amount of people. So if it could only take 8 people and put you in there with them, and then lock up the doors, you hear it lock in the headphones, and all of a sudden you got to figure your way out. That would be really cool.
Honestly, the technology isn't even that. Well, the technology of even the Oculus Go would be able to handle that, because there's that is built around social interaction, because there's a virtual room that you can invite people into, and there's for tonight actually there's what they call Oculus venues, where they stream concerts and stuff.
Oh, nice.
So the Head and the Heart was playing tonight at 6. I nearly broke that out just to log into that for a second.
Okay, now I'm trying to remember the movie that had something similar. It was one of those anthology movies, and the first part was the guy trying to get the thing for his kid, and he kills a guy, and then he puts the thing on, and he starts reliving it. Oh, I cannot remember what movie that was from.
Was it Seth Green?
I think so.
It was Holidays.
It was
it was the Christmas snippet.
Yeah. That one was fun.
So they have an escape room type.
Oh, okay.
And it's based on the Belko experiment.
Really?
And it's timed 15 minutes, and if you don't do what you need to do in 15 minutes, you die.
Wow.
In some sort of random crazy ass way.
That would be fun.
Okay. Yeah.
That would definitely be fun.
Yeah.
I knew there were escape the room apps, solo experiences, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, looks like I'm going to go home and play with Charlie's VR.
There you go.
So going around the room, are there certain experiences that you are less comfortable with doing in virtual reality?
As far as what we did tonight?
Yeah, well, just in
general.
In general, if you find out that, hey, they made this type of experience, would be ugh, I don't know about that one.
Giving birth.
That alien in utero thing really got to you.
Now, if they put pain receptors in it,
you'd have to wear one of those little, they've got the devices that simulate contractions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. You need one of
if
those.
they hooked
and
one of
birth.
those pain receptor things up with it and
it
made a
needs to
man
be-
wear
it
it,
needs to
he'd
be
be
a
like,
man.
oh, hell no.
It needs to be a man.
You are
thing.
aware there's one industry that's working on sensation combined with VR.
Oh. Color me shocked.
The first major industry to back VR, of course.
Yeah.
They actually have a goggle that has dolls in it already.
Well, he's talking about you put the goggles on and you attach something and you feel what you're seeing.
Oh, it's kind of like Ready Player One. Like, okay, this is kind
But
of
in a totally different,
different
yeah,
Yeah.
because in
rating. Rating.
Yeah, because in Ready Player One, they have like a suit, and like you hook it up to the thing, and you can like feel what happens in the game.
Yeah.
And it's really weird.
Oh, it also kind of makes me think of that one episode on Voyager where they had the little thing that shot the laser in their eye and they had to play the little game and it made them all... Was it? Or Next Generation? It was Next Generation. Yeah, because I remember Wesley was the one that was like pretending not to do it. Yeah.
Wheaton.
Will we? Will we?
Yeah, speaking of scary experiences, I think my favorite videos of watching people interact with VR is whenever VR just became a thing, like they had just done the Oculus Rift developer kits out.
Yeah.
There was one channel that did allow people to try, brought in people from about the ages of 20 to 30. Most of them were rappers, it looked like. And then elderly people was the next video. But it put porn reels up in front of them. It asked how comfortable they are with the idea, and then like put them through the experience. But the funniest thing was going through the rapper's video because it was a sizzle reel, so it was a whole bunch of stuff, and it was like a whole bunch of stuff is you as the guy, and then all of a sudden it switched and you were the girl. And like all of them were like, no, put that away.
That is funny. That's funny. So I could actually see someone setting up kind of a haunted house and then running the camera system through it and then
They
put a small little fee on there and you can go through the haunted house. You know, just like you pay for your ticket to go through, you pay for your experience to go through it with the virtual reality, and you get the same experience.
You need to be like at the car wash. You know, you drive up on the thing and you put it in neutral and it just pulls you through.
Exactly.
No,
it's in a rolly chair, like you could spin around.
So
I made that comment. I was like, this is
y'all...
like riding a Disney ride, but you got to
can't
keep
turn.
turning.
No,
to
it's Feel Around from Kentucky Fried Movie.
There you go.
You
Yeah.
have like your attendant come up behind you and start like tickling you with feathers and stuff.
Or your William Castle experience. The Tingler.
The Tingler. Bzz. It's just a small electrocution. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all right. You'll be all right. Yeah.
4D. Gotta love 4D. They do that at SeaWorld too.
Oh, yeah?
And it's like some random, I think the one we went to is a pirate one.
Yeah.
And so you're in there, and at one point it like blows water in your face. And then at another one, there's like a rat, and it like has these little like things on the bottom, so it brushes your legs, so it feels like a rat's going by your leg. And
Nice.
it was fun. I mean, I'd never experienced anything like that before. It was fun. I liked it.
That one's sort of amazing because they do it in a theater. And it actually
Smell-o-vision?
hits everybody.
Yeah.
This
Smell-o-vision?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have smell.
There's like a Donald has a pie that he like puts out in front of everybody, and like it.
You can smell the
you can
apple
smell
pie.
it.
And
Nice.
then, like,
I'm not so sure I
There's-
would be okay with that one.
No?
there's water that gets like
Yeah, it
misted on you at
it
one
missed,
time.
It missed
and-
exactly the right amount of water to not get you the slightest bit wet. But like
Yeah.
But
when
you get the
Ariel comes
sensation.
reaching out for you, it's like okay, like just all of a sudden you go, what? All right, I'm dry.
Yeah. Yeah. But they do that there, and then at Epcot they have one that's Honey I Shrunk the Kids, and but that one they have the rat thing. Only you're sitting, there's something that touches your ankle.
Yeah.
Touches your ankle.
Yeah.
So I saw it coming, so I put my feet up in my seat, and it still touched my foot. I don't know how it did that. But
Yeah.
I was so upset.
No, that's not fair.
Okay.
I moved. Dang it! I moved.
All right. It's a big rat.
That's enough to make a park attendant feel bad. You have like a 10-year-old say, "I said no." Like, oh,
My bad.
I need to pray.
Where the hell did you get these rats? Texas? It touched my foot and I raised it.
Alrighty.
So, different experiences for horror.
Yeah,
It's fun times.
It is fun times.
It kind of gives you the sensation of like the thrill rides of Park or anything like that, or just, I mean, if you're into horror movies, horror books, and everything, you like the sensation of being scared a little bit.
Yeah.
And this is yet another safe way to do it, and kind of an interesting way to immerse yourself into it.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to immerse yourself with that, which sets it apart from actually going to watch a film, because then you can see it on the screen and everything, and you feel safe that way. But this way, you kind of feel like you're in it, but you know it's still safe because it's just goggles on your head. But you get to really almost feel it.
Yeah.
More than you would say watching Alien.
I'm guessing of the stuff I showed you, that would be the Blade Runner app was the biggest sense of immersion you had.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a lot of depth to that one.
Yeah, I mean, graphically, it could have been better.
Yeah.
But for the immersion of it, it was really interesting, especially because you could actually look around and actually tag cars, and it would pull up printouts just like it did in the movie. Mm-hmm. So it gave you a chance to almost feel like you were part of the movie.
Add to that, you're in the spinner, and you've got rain going on the windshield up front. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, you can see like the skyline behind the raindrops that are falling. You look down, and you've got like a glass floor, and you can see the street below and everything like that. So it gives you a whole lot of depth.
Exactly. So if you haven't checked out a VR helmet, you might want to go check one out. YouTube, there's videos on there. You can just get to 3D experience.
The cardboard sets are actually kind of just plummeting in price, so you can pick one of those up cheap these days.
Oh, yeah.
And if you decide you like that, you can go for something a little bit pricier.
Right.
But
you know, there's always ways to upgrade.
Yeah.
And make it, because I've seen the basic ones, like the cardboard ones, like as low as $10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
in random places, like in Dublin, Texas, there was one around Christmas. They had them at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Walgreens.
Walgreens.
JCPenney's had them.
Yeah.
Just random.
CVS.
It's plastic that's around something that it's in everybody's pocket. So I guess I understand why they would put them everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't you get Charlie's like some at Burke's or something, one of the outlet stores?
I did get his first one there, and it didn't work so well. And the second one he bought, I can't remember where he got it.
I've seen him at Route 21.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Clothing store. Oh, I'm going to get a VR helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet the ones from Hollister are badass.
Oh, yeah. They got to be.
Yeah. Definitely get one if you're like.
Actually, that would be a great environment for VR. I mean, there's no lighting in a Hollister or anything.
Right?
That would be great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like if you're one of those people who like wants to be in something and move around, definitely get one of those. To where like you can actually stand up and move around. Just make sure you don't have any glass or anything around.
You want something interactive, is what I think the word.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't not go for stuff. That's best advice.
Yeah.
Or if you're standing, hang on to a chair.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I had to.
I think the only thing people have a problem with is like turning around entirely, so get a rolly chair.
360.
Yeah, you had a problem
with
getting around, like turning like the whole 360. Because like if you just want to sit down and look at something, don't
watch a movie.
Yeah, just watch a movie. Don't get a VR for that.
Sensation and emotion. The one thing I do wonder is if I've seen a whole lot about promoting empathy through VR. Like
Right.
you get to experience life as someone else, like someone from a different part of the world and everything like that.
Right.
And I've seen a few that are like, that would probably be pretty harrowing. Like that would
Yeah.
probably be pretty sad to go through. And I just wonder what it would even be like, because you got that thing, you got goggles in front of your eyes. I'm like, can't imagine what it'd be like if you're watching like a tearjerker or something like that.
No,
Yeah.
it ain't happening.
It's
Yeah.
like you'd probably have to keep like lifting that thing up or whatever.
Yeah, because we had that issue tonight because it was kind of warm today. So
Day in the life of,
it was.
prison inmate or
Oh yeah.
a brothel worker or sex slave. I mean, that would
Oh.
totally be terrible. And I'd be willing to bet there's probably something out there that's like that.
I think worse yet
I
would
don't.
be to find
I
one
wouldn't.
that's.
I wouldn't negate that. Like I would say that there's some merit to it.
Yeah.
So
I would think worse yet would be one that was done in an actual war zone.
yeah.
Yeah.
That would be traumatic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of news outlets that are producing 360-degree and
Yeah.
VR content. There's a lot of BBC and Discovery and National Geographic and everything
Yeah.
like that. So
So
there's probably something along those lines already up.
But other ways to be interactive, send us a message on our Facebook, our Twitter, or Instagram.
Perfect segue.
Tumblr. Thank you. Let's see. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr,
Smoke signals.
Smoke Signals. Send us an email directly from our website at fearcentral.net. And if you want to continue to have our glorious voices streaming through your ear holes, you can subscribe to us. That face is priceless there, Paul.
It's streaming through your ear holes. It's like
That's
imagine you direct download to your brain.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
just another VR
the ultimate
experience right to your
experience,
brain.
Yep.
You can subscribe to us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker. I think that's it right now.
Florbity Jorb.
Yes. Currently waiting on response from
Syria.
yes. Syria. Now, what's the other big music streaming? Spotify. Waiting to hear back
Yeah.
from Spotify. So soon we should be on there as well. So iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker,
And maybe
iHeartRadio, and Spotify soon.
hopefully.
And then you can also listen directly from the website, fearcentral.net.
Don't you have something on YouTube?
Yes, YouTube as well. It does go
YouTube
there.
is hilarious.
Yes,
Turn on
if you
subtitles.
want a good, hilarious thing with YouTube,
Turn on subtitles
turn on the automatic subtitles on our show.
because it's hilarious.
You never know what
it
we're
is
going to say.
it
apparently.
doesn't
Yeah.
understand everything we say.
Apparently, mumble.
You know, 'cause-
Now let's see what YouTube did with that.
exactly. But we are back at you, and we will check you again next week. And as always,
Stay scared.
Fear Central is a product of Thoughtbox Studios. For more information, visit thoughtboxstudios.com.